Welcome back to Sonic the Hedgehog reads Madeline 1997 version. I'm Sonic the Hedgehog. Now let's continue where we left off, shall we? Madeline's burning up, Miss Clavel, one of the girls said. I knew this part is when Madeline goes to the hospital to get her appendix removed. I remember this scene so well, since I have seen the movie lots of times. The scene then cuts to black as the doctors put a mask over Madeline before the operation can begin. The next scene shows Miss Clavel with her students inside the hospital to visit Madeline. We won't be visiting long today. It has been a few days since the operation and Madeline is exhausted, Miss Clavel said. We must be gentle with her. As the girls walked with Miss Clavel. As the girls, along with Miss Clavel, walked inside Madeline's room, Madeline turned around to see her teacher and her friends came to visit her. Madeline explained to her friends about what happened, and the visit went really well. After Miss Clavel and the rest of the girls walked out of the room a few minutes later, the next scene cuts to Madeline, who went to visit Lady Covington in another room. Lady Covington? Madeline asked as she walked in the room. Hi there, Madeline. Lady Covington replied. She tells Madeline that she still remembers her, and they talked for a while. I got myself something to drink when I paused the movie. I'm starting to like this 1997 version of the movie. When Lord Covington, or Lord Cuckoo Face, shows up to see Madeline in her room, so he tells her to go back to her room. After the scene changes back to the old house where Miss Clavel wakes up to hear that something wasn't right at all. Something is not right, as she says as she gets and checks on the girls, comments an area with the movies and the show. The next scene cuts to Miss Clavel and Madeline on their way out of the hospital. Madeline stops to show Miss Clavel that Lady Covington was in one of the rooms in the hospital. Look, Miss Clavel, that's Lady Covington's room. Madeline pointed out the room Lady Covington was in. Did she get better and go home as well? She asked her teacher. No, Madeline, Lady Covington. No, Madeline, Lady Covington. Miss Clavel stopped for a moment. I knew this was the part where Miss Clavel talks to Madeline about when people die and stuff, because it is hard for kids to learn. But we gotta learn certain things at some point, right? Lady Covington passed away. Miss Clavel spoke again. But I only just spoke to her, Madeline replied. She was really sick. We'll miss her very much, Miss Clavel replied to Madeline. I'm sorry, Madeline said sadly. Miss Clavel then can see that Madeline was sad in her eyes and looked like she was going to cry. Seeing that Madeline had to deal with hard topics that a lot of kids have trouble learning about, Miss Clavel looked concerned and asked if Madeline was okay, but she said yes. Helen the cook, along with Miss Clavel and Madeline, returned home. When they got home, Madeline noticed that they have new neighbors. Madeline, this is Pepito, the Spanish ambassador's son. Miss Clavel introduced Madeline to Pepito. Hola, Pepito said to Madeline. At first, Madeline didn't like the new neighbors. I guess the reason is that the kid was a boy, not a girl, which she expected. The next scene shows the main villain in the live-action Madeline movie named Leopold. He is the one who kidnaps Pepito and Madeline later in the movie. I will get to that when the scene happens and explain more details further on. As he was leaving, after taking the photo of Pepito riding his Vespa, or I don't know that, I'm not going to say the word, so I'm going to spell the word. Vespa. I paused the movie because I saw something wasn't right in this 1997 version of the live-action movie. When I paused the movie, I could see that Leopold had a handgun sticking out of his pocket. Now, I could see sometimes I see guns in a children's movie, but this was making me feel a bit weirded out by this. So the next scene shows Madeline along with the other girls talking about Pepito and even spying on him. The scene went very well when it cuts to Helen the cook who brought a cooked chicken. The girls started to dig in their dinner, but then Madeline didn't want to eat the chicken, despite the fact that she made friends with the chicken in the car. The scene goes on with a riot happening at dinner, and as Mrs. Clavel then thought of leaving the girls for a bit. Lord Covington tells Miss Clavel that he is planning on closing the school down and selling the house. Miss Clavel disliked the idea. When she got back to the dining room, the girls will not eat their chicken. Then she had enough of the riot with the girls about eating the chicken or not. End of debate, Miss Clavel spoke up. If you don't eat your chicken, it's off to bed with you. With that being said, the girls did what she was told. In the bedroom, the girls were bored, so they decided to go to the kitchen to get something to eat. While the scene goes on with the girls looking for something to eat, when Pepito decided to scare the girls by putting on a devil mask and surprising the girl with a loud snarl. The girls all of a sudden screamed like if they were being stabbed to death. Those screams scared the living crap out of me. Madeline had enough of Pepito being a total jerk, decided to open the back door and tells Pepito off, while she yelled at Pepito and told him off. Miss Clavel and Helen, the cook, walked in the scene to see the girls in the kitchen. It was a mess, since the girls made a bit of a mess in the kitchen. With a few seconds of thinking, Miss Clavel spoke up. Who is going to clean up this mess? She asked the girls. They say that they will clean up. And the scene then cuts to Miss Clavel going over to Pepito's house, where she meets Pepito's tutor. They started a conversation, and it was like normal. Then the scene cuts to Miss Clavel taking the girls to the museum, and the scene went off normal. But when it cuts to Madeline going to find her sketchbook, she walks into the dark room. And this is when things started to get a little messed up. She looked to see a statue was a lion. Then she heard a deep sound, a deep voice that sounded demonic, like, "Where are you going, little girl?" and asked, "I asked you a question." After that being said, Madeline found out that it was Pepito, which only sounded like a devil to get attention from Madeline. Now I got spooked a bit, but I'm not letting anything scary get in the way of my fun. The next scene shows Miss Clavel telling the girls that Pepito's mother and father had invited them to Pepito's birthday party, which all the girls dressed up for the party the next day. Miss Clavel takes the girls to Pepito's house for the party. Then Pepito shows the girls his shed, full of reptiles and whatnot. The girls seem scared of the mouse, like that Pepito was holding, and this part gets me a little bit uncomfortable. Pepito feeds the snake a live mouse, which we don't see it, thankfully. Madeline gets mad and then pushes Pepito, and the girls start screaming as the mice escape their cage when Madeline pushed Pepito. Miss Clavel sees a riot was going on. To see what was the riot going on, sees Madeline fighting Pepito by restraining him while she was on top of him. Miss Clavel pulled Madeline off of Pepito. If you can't behave, we're leaving. Miss Clavel takes the girls and leave Pepito's house. The next scene shows the girls with Miss Clavel out in Paris when they were on a bridge that goes over the river. Madeline starts ranting on Pepito and what an idiot he was when she falls into the river. Miss Clavel sees the sight of Madeline falling. No! She screams loudly. Her screams scare the crap out of me. I turn down the volume on the iPad a bit so I can still hear the movie. And this is where I will stop for part 2. Stay tuned for part 3 of Sonic the Hedgehog reads Madeline 1997 version.